There comes a point in life when the roles between parents and children quietly begin to reverse. You spend decades raising them, guiding them, sacrificing for them. But one day, you suddenly realize something has shifted. Maybe they dismiss your advice. Maybe they roll their eyes at your opinions. Maybe they talk down to you, or worse, they make you feel like a burden. And that hurts more than you expected. When this happens, it's natural to feel angry, even heartbroken. You might want to remind them of everything you did for them, of the countless nights you stayed awake worrying about their future, the decades you put their needs before yours. But here's the hard truth. Getting angry rarely fixes anything. In fact, it often drives them further away. So what actually works? Today, we're going to explore 6 powerful shifts, simple but life-changing changes in how you respond when your children stop treating you with the respect you deserve. These aren't about arguing, begging, or demanding. They're about quietly transforming the way your children see you. Some of these may surprise you. But if you stay with me until the end, you'll discover how to reclaim your dignity and become someone your children truly respect again. Let's begin. 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the biggest mistakes parents make, especially as they get older, is trying too hard to please their children. Maybe you've noticed yourself doing it, saying yes when you want to say no, rearranging your plans to fit theirs, keeping quiet when you want to speak up. All because deep down, you hope that if you just give enough, they'll love and appreciate you more. But here's the painful reality. The more you chase their approval, the less they respect you. Respect doesn't come from self-sacrifice. It comes from self-respect. When you constantly give in, always putting your needs last, you silently teach your children that your feelings matter less. And once they start believing that, it's easy for them to take you for granted. I once knew a woman named Margaret. In her younger years, she was strong, independent, full of confidence. But as she grew older, she stopped voicing her opinions. She let her children make every decision, stayed quiet when they spoke down to her, and bent over backward to keep everyone happy. "I just want to keep the family together," she told me once. But the result? Her children stopped valuing her. The first step to changing this is not to demand respect. It's to stop acting like you need it. Speak up. Say no when you need to. Hold your boundaries. Because the moment you start respecting yourself, they will begin to respect you too. 2. Don't argue. Lead by example. When your children dismiss you or speak disrespectfully, your first instinct might be to argue, to fight for your dignity. But here's the thing. Arguing never works. Think about it. When was the last time someone started respecting you because you yelled louder? Respect isn't won through shouting matches. It's earned through the way you carry yourself, your tone, your presence, your confidence. I once knew a man named Frank, a retired teacher. In the classroom, he commanded respect effortlessly. But at home, his grown children ignored his advice, dismissed his opinions, even laughed at him sometimes. At first, he argued back. The more he fought, the worse things got. Then he tried something different. He stopped arguing. He started listening, speaking calmly, carrying himself with quiet dignity. Slowly, his children began noticing. They saw a man who wasn't desperate for approval, a man who didn't need to prove himself, a man who led by example. That's the secret. When you refuse to be dragged into negativity and instead show grace under pressure, you silently teach them what respect looks like. 3. Withdraw your emotional dependence. Here's a tough one. You cannot depend on your children for emotional fulfillment. Of course you love them. Of course you want them to call, to visit, to care. But the moment they sense that your happiness depends on them, the dynamic changes. Instead of feeling grateful, they feel pressured, and pressure pushes people away. Take Helen, a mother I once knew. She called her children constantly, told them how lonely she was, begged them to visit. But instead of drawing them closer, it drove them away. Her calls felt like obligations, not connections. One day, Helen changed things. She stopped waiting by the phone. She picked up new hobbies, joined a walking club, traveled with friends. And something amazing happened. Her children started calling her. They wanted to know what she was up to. They respected her independence. When you show your children that your happiness doesn't depend on them, they'll start valuing your presence far more than before. 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you tolerate disrespect, interruptions, dismissive comments, constant criticism, it will continue. Not because your children are bad people, but because human nature always pushes limits until someone sets a line. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting ties or creating conflict. It means calmly saying, "I expect to be treated with respect," and meaning it. I knew a man named Robert, successful businessman, confident. But at home, his children interrupted him constantly, dismissed his opinions, criticized his choices. For years, he stayed silent to keep the peace. One day, he'd had enough. He told them, calmly but firmly, "You don't have to agree with me, but you do have to respect me." And when they didn't, he walked away. At first, they pushed back, but eventually, they realized he wasn't joking. And slowly, they changed. Respect grows when people see that you have boundaries and the strength to enforce them. 5. Stop giving without appreciation. One of the quickest ways to lose respect? Keep giving to people who don't appreciate it. As parents, we often give too much, our time, money, advice, without requiring even basic gratitude. And here's the problem. When you give endlessly, people stop seeing your generosity as kindness. They start seeing it as entitlement. George, a father I once knew, helped his grown kids constantly, paid bills, fixed problems, rearranged his life for them. But instead of gratitude, he got complaints. And when he finally needed help, they were too busy. So he stopped. He said no sometimes. He made them wait. And guess what? They started saying thank you. They started valuing his time because they realized it wasn't unlimited. When generosity has boundaries, respect returns. 6. Build a life outside of them. This might be the most important step of all. If your whole world revolves around your children, they will start seeing you as someone who has no life of their own. And people don't respect someone who depends entirely on them for purpose. Eleanor, a widow in her 70s, spent years calling her kids daily, waiting for visits, giving advice they didn't ask for. The more she gave, the less they came around. Then she joined a book club, traveled with friends, volunteered. Suddenly, her children were curious about her life. They admired her independence. They respected her again. When you have your own purpose, people, including your children, treat you differently. Final thoughts. Respect isn't something you demand. It's something you inspire through boundaries, independence, confidence, and self-respect. So if your children treat you with less care than before, don't waste energy on anger. Instead, stop chasing their approval. Lead by example, not arguments. Withdraw emotional dependence. Set and enforce boundaries. Stop giving without appreciation. Build a life outside of them. Do these things, and something powerful will happen. They'll start seeing you not as someone waiting for their attention, but as someone who commands respect simply by the way you live. And in time, that respect will come back, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. We'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your insights matter, and we truly enjoy reading what you have to say. It keeps us inspired and motivated to create more. If this video was helpful, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend or loved one who might benefit too. Your support helps us keep making content that informs, encourages, and uplifts.